Hey, this is Coach Woolley, the holistic trainer, and this is a demonstration of the kneeling hip flexor isometric. This is a great stretch for the muscles of the hip, which are going to be very tight for many people due to the amount of sitting we do throughout the day. When you're doing this exercise, it's done on the floor, so make sure the surface that you're going to be on is comfortable. To get into this stretching position, we're going to start with one knee on the floor, that's the back leg, and one knee up with the front foot flat on the front leg. You're going to want to make sure that the front foot is stable. You don't want to have your foot too far forward or too far back. So make sure it's at about a 90-degree angle. Same thing with the back leg. Make sure it's not too close to the front leg. And we don't want to be in this hyper extended position. We want to be close to about two 90-degree angles in our hips. Focus on having an upright posture, and we're going to start with a passive stretch where we're going to get a little bit of a stretch going on the hip flexor of this back leg. What we're going to do is put a little bit of tuck in our tailbone, so I'm rounding my lower back a little bit, rolling my hips under, and squeezing this back glute muscle just a little bit, and I should start to feel a stretch running down the front side of my back hip. We're going to hold this stretch for about 30 seconds, taking slow, deep belly breaths. And after the 30 seconds is over, we will begin the isometric component. You're going to want to focus on two things. One is dragging the front foot backwards as you drag the back knee forwards. So these two parts of my body aren't going to move, but we want to try to create a contraction that would simulate them moving towards each other. So I'm dragging my front foot backwards, keeping this hip tucked as I drag my back knee forwards, and this should give me a big stretch now running down the front side of my hip, possibly even all the way down the front of my thigh towards the bottom of my knee. We're going to hold this active stretch for 10 seconds, keeping the contraction here, taking slow breaths with a good posture. And after the 10 seconds is up, we'll relax, take a breath, then reset. Put a little tuck in the tailbone, keep your posture tall. Think about dragging your front foot backwards as you drag your back knee forwards. You should start to feel that big contraction running down the front of this hip as you keep this hip tucked. You can continue starting to squeeze that glute to get a bigger squeeze and stretch along the front of the hip here, holding it for 10 seconds. And then relax. And after we're done with our repetitions on one leg, we'll repeat the same movement on the opposite side. Getting into the right positions with your 90-degree angles. Tuck the tailbone here, squeeze this back glute, and feel this passive stretch for about 30 seconds. And then begin the active component of dragging your front foot backwards as you drag your back knee forwards, thinking about closing the distance between those two parts of your body, tucking the tailbone, dragging those two parts together, feeling that big stretch running down the front of this thigh, holding it for 10 seconds with your posture tall. And then relax. And then you'll repeat. If necessary, you feel a little bit unstable, like you're going to lose your balance, you can have a chair or a table next to you to support you that you can hold on to. The number of times you're going to perform this stretch is going to be determined by your program, so follow the protocol specifically designed for you. Now, if you notice that one side is much stiffer and tighter than the other side, or maybe it's more uncomfortable, please share this information with me, and we're going to focus more on the side that's more stiff and needs more work. And this is a demonstration of the kneeling hip flexor isometric.